going to be hearing from Karen Bernal, who is the now third term chair of the Progressive Caucus of the California Democratic Party. Along with myself, Norman Solomon, she coordinated the entire activity that brought us this autopsy report, the task force that put it together. Karen has been an official in some capacity at some levels of the California Democratic Party since the year 2005, so this is what, a dozen years and more that Karen has been directly involved. She's currently, as she has been in the past, on the executive committee of the California Democratic Party, and I'm very pleased to now introduce Karen Bernal.
Well, thank you, Norman, and thank you all for being here. One of the things, let me just go into what everyone already knows first off, just to start. During the 2016 general election, the party did experience a fall-off of voter turnout and support among people of color, the young, and the working class. Much of our report concentrates on assessing the party's approach to these demographic groups. And yes, this paper does aim to serve as a nationwide discussion paper and stimulus for transformational action. The goal is clarity for the challenges ahead to end Republican rule and to gain lasting momentum for progressive change. And this isn't just only about the wins, but it's about energizing as well as expanding the base of the party. And I think one of the things, the problems that we are having is because of the lack of turnout, we have a problem of basically a kind of diminishing of the party base. And this is really important when we consider that in this past election, as everyone knows, we had a great millennial turnout for the primaries. Senator Bernie Sanders won the millennial vote. But beyond that, we need to understand that they are the future of the party. And when we can see that nationally 8% of the millennial vote went to third-party candidates, and that in the crucial battleground states, that statistic was even higher, that this party has a very big problem when it comes to a very important demographic of its base. Similarly, it's sad to say, but the party also reaped the very bad outcome of a declining African American vote. From 2012 to 2016, the African American vote suffered, it went down by 7 percentage points. So that in these swing states, particularly Michigan, Indiana, Wisconsin, the voters decided to stay home, and that is a choice. I mean, we know that we had, when we have to look into, and I hope the party prioritizes voter disenfranchisement, but it doesn't account for the lack of voter enthusiasm and the fact that staying home is also a choice in addition to voting for any one of the candidates. More than that, though, we need to be aware of the fact that the party continues to operate in an approach that is not in keeping with the times. We are in a period of social movements, and these social movements are part of what's taking place in the larger political landscape. And unfortunately, the party still wants to practice what we call silo politics, where we have, it's an exploitation, a neoliberal exploitation of identity groups, and chase after an ever-shrinking universe of these white suburban voters, or what they call white working class. And the problem that we see with this is that, number one, we can see that the working class, for instance, is going to be majority people of color very quickly here, and especially so with the age demographic of the 25 to 34-year-olds. They will be the majority of the working class in 2021, just a year after the next presidential election. And so these two demographics, which have in the past often the needs or prioritizing of these groups having often being pitted against each other, are now coming together, and they are intersecting, and the party still does not have a plan for it. Unfortunately, we see this in evidence even now with the Virginia race, the governor's race that's coming up, and this doesn't bode well for the future, because this is the class that would be the party's base.